Okay, everyone, welcome to today's demo. Today, let's try to play the ADDS. We're gonna use 4 virtual machines in this experiment. First is our DC number 1 with the root DC. DC stands for the domain controller, which is a controller for our domain. And DC2 as our backup in case the DC1 is down. The DC3 is used to control the subdomain. And the last machine, Win10, we try to set as our client. So 4 virtual machines in total today. If you have the limited memory issue for your host operating system, you can lower down the memory usage for each virtual machine. Or you can only turn on the virtual machine when you need it. Okay. One more solution is like you can set the virtual memory, as we mentioned in the previous demo, like the virtual memory, like we said, we trade off the space for the speed. Trade off the speed for the space. All right. Anyway, the first virtual machine, Windows 2019, machine number 1 as our first DC. Machine number 2 as the second one. Machine number 3 as the domain controller for the subdomain. For the root domain, we use the linchun.com. And subdomain, let's choose the cs.linchun.com as the computer science. And we have client. At the end, I want you to use the client to join the domain. Okay, we were demo to join the root domain. So that's the idea for today's demo. So let's go to our virtual machine. I just try to get a larger size. Hopefully you guys can see it this way. I set the size for the form, text, or the apps and as the 200%. Hopefully it's gonna be clear for you guys. Sorry for my ultra wide screen, so you may not clear. Anyway, if you need any help, feel free to ask me. All right. Did that change back? Okay, so 200. Okay. First thing first, let's try to verify the host name. Our host name, I remember I have changed it already. Yes, so Windows Server 2019, machine number 1. And let's take a look at our IP address. 192.168.44.128. And that's IP address of our DC number 1. So to set up our IP, we need to do some modification, especially for the DNS. So right click our connection, choose the open network in the internet setting. We change adapter options. Right click, we choose change the IPv4. You can double click, and our IP is so. Oh, that's block us. So let me move to here. 192.168.44.128. Subnet, we choose the by default. Network gateway, we use the default one. .2. For the DNS, this one is a little bit important. We're gonna set the DNS server address as 127.0.0.1, and that's address for our local host. So this address will loop back to our current device because we want to set our DC number 1 as our DNS server as well. Because we are not sure, do we have the linchun.com in the real life, right? If it's there, then we may get the issue. Okay, so we set our DC number 1 as the DNS server as well. That's okay. Give some time. Let's take a look. ipconfig. It's not one. Yes, our DNS server has been set. IP address is here. Preferred. Because we set the static IP address we need. Because if we choose dynamic one, it may update later. So we won't fix it. So the other host can find their DNS server. Okay, so that's the first step we have already complete. And then we try to promote it to the DC, which is the domain controller. The DC promote command has been removed, right? It's a relocate in the server manager. The command has been used in the 2008 version. Now it's 2019. So we should go to server manager to enable it. Okay, let's try to go there. So server manager. So it's gonna take some time. All right, so that's our server manager. Let's try to go to manage. Oh yes, by the way, someone may ask, hey Linchen, after we set the IP and the DNS, our icon here as the alarm, right? So don't worry, that's normal because we set DNS our own self. So we don't have any internet access at this moment. Don't worry. That's not a big deal. Let's click manage. We add some rows. So this is a place we can enable our ADDS. Next, we choose a default setting, role-based or feature-based installation. Next, our host, which is the Win Server 2019 machine number 1, 44.128, that's our IP address. And we use the operating system 2019 server side, server based, and data center edition. Keep going. So in the row, we gonna choose the active directory domain services, ADS. This is one we try to enable. Yes, we add the feature. Okay, add these features with it. And also don't forget to add the role as DNS server, right? Because this is machine number 1. We need this to set up the linchun.com. So to resolve linchun.com, we have to be the DNS server. And do remember, we set our DNS server on this machine is 127.0.0.1 as we loop back to our current host. Click next. For the feature part, we don't need to change anything. Keep going down. Okay, and next. We can restart the server if we need. Okay, that's okay. And press install. Now we're gonna start the installation. It may take some time. Someone may ask, I remember in the topology, we set our domain as linchen.com, but we didn't enter the linchen.com here. So no rush. Until here, we just enable the role. After this step, we're gonna try to set the domain name. Okay, so you will see. Now let's give it some time to set it up. All right, so it's complete. Installation succeed on our machine. Now we can close it. So right now, our first step is complete. Now we try to promote our host as the domain controller. How to do that? Still in our server manager, see this flag, notification, click that. And this one, we promote this server to a domain controller. And here, we choose a forest. Why we choose a forest? Because we are building a first AD, Active Directory, right? And we're gonna set this host as our first DC for our domain. So this is the forest we are building. And then in terms of the root domain name, as we mentioned before, we gonna use linchen.com. And in your case, please use your first name, okay, as your root domain name. Don't let me see the linchen.com in your site, all right? And then we click next. Give it some time. So how the process, the speed, it depends on the resource you give to your virtual machine, like how many CPU, processor, how many core you give for each processor, and how many memory you give. Okay. Functional level 2016, no problem. And for the DSRM password, you can see the name is the directory service restore mode, right? So this is used as its name, which means this password we can use to backup, restore, and sometimes even to rebuild, okay, to rebuild our directory. So let's give it a password. Keep going. Oh, we can use the same password here. So let's give it another one. What I just entered the password same as a login password, which is not allowed. It has the own strategy for the security. Let's try this. Hopefully it's gonna work. Oh, still no. Let's take a look. Okay, I see. It does not match the complexity requirement for the password. Required combination of uppercase, lowercase, number, and a symbol. Okay, so in my password, I miss a symbol. So let's do this way. Let's take a look. Okay, now it looks good. Here you can see there's warning. Don't worry about that. It is fine. Keep going. Okay, so now you can see the domain name, which is linchen. Yes, that's what we need, right? So keep going next. And this one is the NTTS. Recall the NTTS we mentioned in the class. That's our database, right? So this is ask you to specify the location of your database and all the folders. We just choose the default setting. Okay, so go next. And let's review all the settings we have been set already. If everything's fine, we can go next one. So now it's gonna try to verify the requirement. like for our ADS, you can see all the check has been passed already. Okay, don't worry about this warning here. It is fine. If you can see the red check mark, means now we are ready to install. So now let's try to click the install. It may take some time. Okay, so be patient. And now it's configuring the DNS servers. Now you can see it is succeed. Okay, it is succeed. And you can see notification. We have been succeed already. Sorry, it's too fast. The system gonna restart the host to apply the change. So let's give it some time. Oh yes, one more thing is like someone asked me how to move the mouse out from our virtual machine. You can hold the control and press ALT, so we can move the mouse out. Okay. Am I recording? Okay, good. For this login may take longer because now we just log into DC for our domain. So it may take a while. Yeah, you're gonna apply the change. Let's give it some time. And for me, I gonna skip that. All right, thanks for the waiting. I know it may take a while because this is the first time to set the DC. So let's log in. Oh, now you can see before our username, we already have our domain names here. All right. So let's log in. Good. I like the size. So to verify, we can go to admin tool, which is, I believe it is this one. Yes, Windows admin tool. And here you can see we get more tools, right? For this, yeah, sorry, let me change the size. 200%, please. Okay. Now you can see we have some more tools. Like for all these, they are talking about the AD, right? And the ADSI and DNS, they're talking about the DNS server. Okay, that's talking about DNS server. So let's go to the AD user and computers to check. We have Linchen, right? We have Linchens here. Domain controller. Yeah, that's our host. Right, our Wing Server 2019 machine number 1. So that's our DC. Okay, you can see our DC. After this step, for the second DC we have been set there, then you can see there's one more later. Okay, machine number 2, I believe. So far we only have one because we only set one. Another one, we can go to DNS to take a look. Our forward lookup zoom. You can see we have our linkedin.com here. Let's go take a look. Oh, that's our machine. All right, let's go take a look at the TCP. You can see our GC, right? And LDAP, they're all point to our machine, right? Recall what is GC? We mentioned in the class. Okay, they're point to our host. Okay, point to this host. That's pretty good. So that's what we need, right? That's what we need. So until this step, we just complete the first step. Okay, we complete the first step, which we try to set the create a domain, linchen.com, and we set our machine number 1 as its DC. Okay, so this one we check. All right, until this step, this one is checked. So right now, we can set the second one, which is our machine number 2. Okay, we can enable it. As you can see, we prepare 4 virtual machines here. We're going to use them today. So that's why I mentioned allocate your hardware resource wisely. Okay, wisely. We try to set the second machine as the backup DC for our domain, root domain linchen. Why we need 2 DC? The main purpose is like for the redundancy, just in case our DC1 is down. So we still have the DC2 to support us. And we can even move all 5 FSDO to the DC2. Oh, sorry. It's not FSDO, FSMO. Okay. We can move all 5 FSMO to the second DC. And in terms of what are 5 FSD, FF, let me type it down here. Can I type something here? Let's edit it. Okay, we can add something here. 5 FSMO. Okay, 5 FSMO. So what are these 5 FSMO? I left the question to you. Okay, I left a question to you. I hope you can find them out. All right, so this is the tiny quiz I left for you guys. All right, so let's keep going. How about our virtual machine? Oh, is it ready? So right now, let's log in. Okay, let's log in. And as always, to help you guys to view it, we try to set the 200% for them. Hopefully, you guys can see them. And we are located at the machine number 2, 44.131. Let's verify it, as always. Hey, is that 200%? I think it's go back. Okay. So as always, we go to the CMD. We give the host name. You may say, hey, Linchen. Here is already say WS 2019 machine number 2. Do we still verify it? Yes, we do. Because this one is the name of the virtual machine. And this one is the name for the host. They could be different. Okay, if you didn't change that, let's take a look. If that's the sequence, oh, that's machine number 1. I see. Because I clone the machine number 1 to all the rest virtual machine with Windows servers. So let's try to change it. Okay, let me change it. For you, I will skip this part for you. All right, so I just update the host name. So let's go to CMDS one more time. We check the host name. Now it has been updated to the machine number 2. And how about our IP config? We got 44.131. Oh, yes, the size changed out. One more time. Let me change the size. Okay, so 44.131. That's the IP address we have. All right, so IP is here, and we need to update it. Let's go here to change our IP address. Okay. what is the IP we need? Okay. I remember we have the CMD, right? So call the CMD out. All right. We're gonna give 192.168.168.44.131, same as our topology for the mask by D4 and D4 gateway 44.2. And here you should be careful. And the DNS server, because we set our first machine, which is the DC number 1, as the DNS server. So for this place, we should enter the IP address of our first machine. I remember it is 129, right? Or 130? 128. Okay, 128. Okay, 128. So 168.128. So let's try to set it. Give you some time. Okay, complete. Now let's try to ipconfig one more time. IP set, gateway set, and the DNS set. Good. Let's try DNS lookup. Request timeout. But we get the 128. Oh, can we ping it? I remember I turned it on, right? I believe we can. Oh, we can ping to the server. Maybe that's the issue. Oh, do I need to exit first? Then I ping it one more time. Is that here? 128, right? Yes. Oh, okay. Now we can ping it. Good, good. Then let's try to NS lookup. We want to resolute linchen.com. How about linchen? Oh, sorry. Linchen.com. Can we get it? Okay, yes. Now we get the address. Okay, 442.128. Good. Now we can resolute from our DNS server, which is the first DC. Okay. Okay. So right now we can start to set the machine number 2 as the second DC in our domain. So as always, let's try to go to the server manager, our old friend. We go to manage, add role. Oh, give it some time to load. Okay, now we can add. As always, same step, role-based, feature-based. Make sure it is our local device, machine number 2. And then we add the ADDS. And for the DNS, it is optional. But I want you guys to select this time. Why? Because the purpose of the second DC is we try to set as a backup, right? So in case DC1 is down, our DC2 can replace it, right? So DC1 is our DNS server. I want a DC2 as a DNS server as well. All right, so keep going. For the rest process, it's kind of same so far. Okay, so far it is the same. So let's give it some time to set it up. All right, installation succeed in our second machine. Now we can try to promote it to a domain controller. If you remember the configuration for the first host, we choose add a forest, right? But this one, we try to add the backup for our current existing domain. So we choose the first one, add the DC controller to existing domain. Okay, existing domain. We select it. It is domain under Lincoln, right? It's under Lincoln. And the /ad mini tor administrator password. So that's the password you log in, not password for you set for the restore. Okay, that's the password for login. You can see we have our domain, right? So that's the one we need. Press OK. Going next. And here you can see something different. First thing is like the GC. Now this time the GC is optional. If you can record the installation for the first host, the GC is chosen by default, right? Because we do need GC in a domain. But this time, because this is the second DC, so our GC is optional. Okay, our GC is optional. And then in terms of the read-only domain controller, recall what we mentioned in the class. Read-only domain controller only used for example, like the small branch, or maybe low security place, right? But for here, we don't need to choose that, okay? And also the password for the restore mode. Don't forget capital case, lowercase, and a symbol. And after that, keep going. Replicate from any domain controller or our domain controller number one. Okay, we only have one domain controller so far, so no matter which you choose, that's the same result, right? Any, and we only have one, so that's our any. Okay, so keep going. Specify the location for the database. Same idea. We review all the settings. Okay, review all the settings. If everything's fine, go next. Okay, go next. Okay, all checks passed successfully. Press install. Okay, now we can wait it to install it. Oh, we got the error here. So let me take a look. Okay, so I know the issue. Because the identical SID, I just do some Google. I suppose the reason is because, like I mentioned, for this virtual machine, I got from the clone of the first machine. So that may cause the SID as the same ID. Okay, that's the issue. To solve it, if you on your side, you can try to use my solution, which I Google online, or you can just create a new virtual machine when you when you create a new virtual machine. Okay, just don't clone it. If you clone that already, so let's try to use this solution. Okay, I'm not pretty sure it's gonna work. Hopefully, this can help us. Okay, hopefully this can help us. Windows System 32. So let's try to close it so far. Always, any problem we met, don't panic. We can find out the solutions. Solution is always more than the problems. That's why I believe system prep. Okay, where is it? Here. And yeah, sorry. And the okay. And then change the cleanup action to the enter system out of box. Click generalize. And what next? Set shutdown option reboot. Press OK. Let's see. Hopefully it gonna work. So you can see it try to restarting. Okay. As always, let's give it some time. So you're gonna ask us to reset the location, keyboard, and the password. And then I can log in. And I try to reset the third machine as well, because my third machine also come from the clone. So in order to save some time, I try to reset here as well. Okay, this is machine number 2. As always, we get double the size. And our old friend. Oh yes, we need to double check for our network settings. Make sure it is same settings. Aha, I need to change here. So 192.168. Yeah, sorry. Bigger size, please. 44 dot. What is our IP address? 131. This is D4 192.168.44.2. This is 192.168.44.128, right? Is it 128? Yes. And here, same idea. We go to the, oh yes, double size. This is the third machine. Okay, this third machine. We try to reset it because it takes some time, so we can do it. In the meantime, we are setting the machine number 2. Okay, so go here. Now we can CMD. Larger size, please. Hostname. Aha, hostname also need to change. All right, give me some time to complete all the settings. Okay, I believe it is worked right now. Oh, I see. It's kind of like reset. You can see our old friend just jump out. Does that mean our ADDS is off? Anyway, let's shut down this our annoying friend here. I can see ADDS is on, right? ADDS is on. Maybe we just need to promote to the DC. Yes. So at least we still have something didn't change. Double the size, please. And how about our, okay, it's restarting. Machine number 3 is restarting. Looks good. Go here. Host name changed. Good. IP config. IP is 131. Gateway set. DNS set. Let's double check. linchen.com. Nice. Okay, so we can promote. Okay, let's leave our DC number 3 here. Let's keep going to our annoying friend. Okay, server manager. We try to promote this time. Okay, promote this time. I believe this time should be no problem. To our add to the existing one, right? Our one is on. Is turning on? Yes, our one is on. Later on. Okay, let's try to select linchen the mini trader. Oh, yeah, sorry. And the password. Linchen.com. Select. Go next. GC check. Password. Do remember. Capital case. Baby case. And the symbol. And the number. All right. I believe this time should be good. Okay. All the check passed. Okay. Install. Okay. Install. Let's give it some time. In the meantime, let's set our machine number 3. Okay. All right. Default setting. I set the terms. No problems. Password. If you are not using Clone to create a virtual machine, you don't need to set this. Okay. Because I try to save time to install the virtual machine. So I just clone from the virtual machine number 1. Okay. You probably don't need to do this. Okay, it's asked to restart for the machine number 2. Okay, let's give it some time. Okay, it can take some time to restart. Let's leave it here so far. Machine number 3, we need to do something. First one, we need to change our IP address. And as always, I would like to give you zooming, larger size for you. Change the IP. Yeah, sorry. Please give us the larger size. IPv6. 19. Oh, yeah, sorry. 192.168.44.8. This time is what? This one is I'm setting the machine number 3. Okay. 44132. 44132. Default setting. 44.2. 192.168.44.128. That's our DC. Okay. And then don't forget to change. Please do not turn it on. And let's go to the system to set the PC name. I believe the PC name has been reset as the random sequence. Yes, you can see here. So rename it. Machine number 3. Okay, you can restart, no problem. Okay, now let's check our machine number 2. Still applying change. Okay, I can skip for you. Okay, now we are here. Let's log in. Oh, sorry. What's this? Okay, I see. It's reset our server manager. Don't worry, I will increase the size. Okay, so double size, please. Okay, now we can verify. Go to our admin tour. You can see now we have all the ADs, right? User and computers. Go to Linchen and our domain controller GC. Now we can see we have 2 GCs, right? Machine 1 and machine 2. And both they are the GC type, right? The DC, they come with the GC type. We can also go to the DNS to verify it. Go to the forward lookup zoom under our link chain. Check the DCP. You can see now the item we double, right? We double. Even for the GC, we have 2 machines, right? We point to 2 machines, machine number 1 and machine number 2. All right. So until this step, our first and second step has been complete. Now we try to set our third machine. okay, third machine, DC number 3 for our subdomain. It is here. So this one we can verify one more time. Let's go to first machine. We can verify one more time. Admin 2. And the user. You can see now we have 2 GCs, right? 2 DCs. Okay. Let's go to our search machine. Let's log in. Because I just reset it. We can double check the IP address. Let me change the size for you. Hostname. Nice. IP config. Yeah, sorry. Change the size one more time. I don't want it. Come on, give us the larger size, please. 132. And the DNS. 128. Yes, I think we are ready to set. And to test the connectivity, we can, as always, AS lookup. Yes, 128. How about linchen.com? Can we resolute? Aha, good. Now you can see we have 2 addresses. Why? This is for the first DC. This is for the second one. Right. 131. That's the second one. All right. Sounds good. So right now, let's go to our server manager. Same idea. We go to manage. Give some time to load. And just default settings. We're going to enable the ADDS and the DNS. You may ask, hey, why do we need a DNS one more time here? Because for machine number 3, we are creating the subdomain. Subdomain is kind of like a new domain. Okay, so we need to add the DNS server here. So let's try to install. Okay, let's give it some time. Okay, installation complete. Now we can promote it to the new DC. If you can recall, for our first DC, machine number 1, we set as the new forest. For the second one, we choose the add a domain controller to the existing domain, right, for the second DC. And now we're located on the third DC, third machine. We try to create a new subdomain, which rely on the existing forest, which is the root domain linchen, right? So this is the one we're gonna choose. Add a new domain to our existing forest as the trial domain. So we select for our parent. And password. Okay, we can find out linchen.com here. And new domain name, let's say CS. Okay, computer science. You can, if you type the linchen.com like a complete name, okay, if you give the complete name, it will give us an error. Okay, that's invalid because for the new domain name, we only need CS. Okay, which is this part. Okay, because the root already exists because we are the children from the parent, right? So we only need CS. We don't need a complete domain name. All right, CS, that's enough. Computer science. You can have yours, up to you. HR, human resource, right? DOCT, EMBT, totally up to you. For the functional levels, we cannot have any other options because this from the root, right? From our existing forest, okay? So we cannot select any other, okay? GC we can choose, no problem. We cannot be the read-only because this is kind of a new domain for the subdomain, right? Password, as always. Keep going. Domain name, CS. Give it some time. Okay, you will see. Okay, CS here. Good. Keep going. About the past, I'm thinking it's talking about the database, right? Yes. Keep going. Double check your settings. Check all the, double check all the sets, all the checks. Verify it. Okay, pass succeed. We can install. Okay, now we can install this domain controller. Let's give it some time. Yeah, you're gonna restart automatically. Okay, it's already complete. It will restart pretty soon. In let's say 10 seconds, I believe. Yeah. Okay, let's give it some time to restart. So at the meantime, let's turn on the Win 10. So turning on 4 virtual machines require you to have enough memories. Okay, so the memory, that's a little bit challenge. So that's always I mentioned, allocate the memory wisely. Okay, or you can lower down the memory requirement for each virtual machine and just set the enough virtual memory for them. Okay, so to save some time when it's applying the change for the DC, let's try to go to the Win 10. Make sure our Win 10 is ready. Okay, good. Now let's try to log in. You can see the CS, right? That's the name of our subdomain. Now you can see the speed, the direction of the virtual machines is a little bit slower because now I have 4 virtual machines running at the same time. Okay, so you may have the same issue. Like I said, depends on the hardware you have for your host. Okay, so let's take a look. You really have the problems about the memory, you can try to shut down the virtual machines you don't need. For example, in the last step, we're gonna need use the client, Win10 as a client to join the domain. For example, join the root domain. I can only leave the DC ones on, okay, and shut down 2 and 3, for example. Okay, only use the machine you need at that moment. So that can also save you some memory, right? Save you some memory. So we go to the administrative tool as always. We go to computer users, user and computers. Oh yes, yes. Change the size for you guys. Give me a sec. Now we double the size. Okay. Now we can see we have Linchen, cslinchen.com, and that's our DC machine number 3. Okay. And same idea as the DNS. Right. So forward lookup zoom. That's cs.linchen.com. For the TCP, we have our machine number 3 is here. And one more thing is for the trust, because we are the child, right? So if we check the Linchen's property, we can see Linchen's property trust cs.linchen.com, which cs.linchen.com is the children of linchen.com, right? You can treat as leaf and the branch and the root, right? Leaf and the branch and the root, right? If we go to cs.linchen.com as a child, so you're gonna trust his parents, right? His parents, which is linchen.com. All right, so that's the trust for the domain. All right, so until this step, we complete the first 3, create domain, set the second DC, and create a subdomain. And last but not least, we try to use Win10 as a client to join the domain. Okay, here I only demo join the root domain, okay, because I want to leave the second one, join the subdomain, as you to complete. Okay, try to find out your own solution to join it. All right. So we go to Linchen. And as always, we double the size. And then how to join the domain? I remember, is that in the system? And then about we have advanced system setting. I like to use the old-fashioned way to modify it. Computer name, right? Normally we can change computer name here, but this time we join the domain, right? Member of domain. So let's say linchen.com, right? Let's say linchen.com. We'll try to join the linchen.com. Oh, it says like the, oh yes, because I I didn't set the IP, right? Especially I can't resolve linchen.com, right? So don't forget that. Okay, don't forget that. So first, let's try to change the IP address. Okay, so here we change the IP address. IPv4, right? Yeah, this step we forgot. 130, okay? So 130, 168.44.2, 168.128, right? Verify, yes. So let's change it. Let's give it some time. Okay, let's give it some time. Okay, now we can go to our about. You can verify that in your CMD. Okay, you can verify that in the CMD. Host name. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to change that. So I can change there, like Win10. Okay, like Win10, but that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. Let's restart now. Okay, so let's log in. It saved the change for the double size. Now we can verify. Hostname, Win10, IP config 130 and 128, right? That's the one we need. Very good. So this time we can join the domain. System, about, advanced system setting, computer name, change. We choose domain, linchen.com. Now we can resolute because we have the DNS, right? So linchen 80 with the IP address. Let's join the domain. Okay, great. Welcome to linchen.com. Right, now we are in the domain. Okay, so right now, after we restart the PC, we're gonna apply the change. All right, so until this step, we complete today's experiment with all 4 steps. Okay, thank you for your time. And as always, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.